Hello, my name is Irina Behrendt, and I'm the founder and director of the musical Odyssey, a concert series for children and families. We have missed our audiences so much. Your shining eyes, dances in the aisles, the whistling and the sing-alongs, all the fun questions you ask after the concerts. But we are so excited to apply some video magic and continue exploring music with you in this new format, one piece at a time. Welcome to the Music Picture Gallery, our new project. Your tour guides for today are a musicologist and an art historian, Yulia Garamova, a member of the Golden State Youth Orchestra, violinist, high school student, Ariana Behrendt, accompanied by her mother, Irina Behrendt.
Good afternoon, my dear friends. Today we are going to listen to the music of our wonderful French composer, Maurice Ravel. Look how charismatic he is.
We are purposely showing you two photographs. The one on the left by the piano shows Ravel's profession, and the one where he's wearing a huge fur coat shows his complex character. When the First World War was declared in 1914, Ravel believed it was his duty to enlist in the army. Because he was so short, only 4 feet and 9 inches, Ravel considered himself an ideal candidate for aviation. He tried to join the Air Force several times, but was rejected because of his age. He was 40 at the time. So he ended up driving a truck near the front lines in dangerous conditions for almost a year until he got ill and had to go back to Paris to recover. Maurice Ravel began piano lessons at the age of 7. He gave his first concert when he was 14 years old. Ravel was not a child prodigy and was never considered to be a super student at the Paris Conservatory. His interest in composition took over his ambitions as a pianist. His music was not to everyone's liking either. Some professors thought of it as anti-musical because of the unusual harmonies.
Today we will hear Tzigane by Ravel. Tzigane means gypsy. Gypsy? Clearly, music can express a certain mood. It can be happy or sad. Music can make us dance or sing. But how can one show nationality? Let me introduce to you our guest, the young and talented Ariana Behrendt. And here's my first question. Ariana, do you think you can musically portray, say, a Russian person?
Absolutely.
Wow, cool! What about the Frenchman? Thank you. So what particular harmonies or rhythm did Ravel use to show us a gypsy?
So Ravel used different rhythms and tunes and inspiration from the Hungarian folk dance Csárdas. While it was Hungarian, with the help of gypsy violinists, the tune was carried all throughout Europe and all around the world.
Ariana, Ravel wanted to write the violin part that would be no less difficult than the Paganini's caprices. What challenging elements did he bring in? Could you show us some examples?
Absolutely. So there were a few different techniques that Ravel incorporated into his music to make it more challenging as opposed to other pieces of his time. Some would include double stops, solgi, which I'll explain in a second, and even left-hand pizzicato. So here are a few examples. On the violin, when you play, the way that it's built, you are only supposed to play one string at a time. However, in this piece, there are a few sections where you play 2 strings, and you'll hear 2 sounds made. Another technique that he incorporated is solgi, which is a term many violinists know as playing on the G string. Usually we use the G string to play on the lowest notes because we are able to reach that low. But in this case, because the G string has a really thick and rich sound, he uses it to make his passages more difficult. And last but not least, we have left-hand pizzicato, which is a technique used to make pieces even more devilishly tricky and even cooler to look at. Usually, a violinist will make the sound with their right hand and make the pitches with their left hand. However, in this case, you are alternating between making the sounds with your right and your left hand at the same time. So those are just a few of the difficult techniques.
What do you say about cadence?
So in the cadenza, as I just mentioned, there are a few of those techniques in there, but I think that what really makes the cadenza tricky is the, expression and how the person chooses to play it. With a cadenza, there's a lot of freedom with how a violinist chooses to portray the music, and I think that in this case, Ravel had a very broad but also specific image in mind.
Thank you. Ravel dedicated Tzigane to a British violinist, Jelly Duranyi. She performed it in 1924, almost 100 years ago. It was originally written for a violin with piano accompaniment. The only catch is, it was not just a regular piano. It was a piano with an optional luthier attachment.
During Ravel's time, luthier attachment was a new invention. It allowed the player to change the tone color of the piano by pulling stops above the keyboard. It had a stop that sounded just like the cymbalum, a Hungarian folk instrument that was also popular with the Romani or gypsy musicians. Later, when Ravel orchestrated the piano part of Tzigane, he gave a lot of it to the harp. Just one more thing before we listen to the entire piece. Ravel's Tzigane is also called a rhapsody. The word rhapsody comes from the Greek language and means a song of the past. Like a colorful memory quilt, Tzigane is composed of several themes. Some themes are more song-like, some are more dance-like. All the music in Tzigane is composed by Ravel, but it is stylized to sound like original gypsy music.
The piece begins with a long cadenza, a virtuosic violin solo. Imagine a camp around a bonfire. It's a story time. What kind of adventures are you about to hear?